Okay, everyone, we're almost done with a huge win for Ripple that has been a long time coming. After 3 years of going to court, Ripple has spent a huge $200 million on lawyers' fees. The XRP community has also been hit hard by this. And still, the XRP faithful are getting closer to a victory. At the moment, Ripple is in a fight with the SEC because Judge Torres said that some transactions, especially those involving institutional investors, were like offering investment contracts. I put out a video highlighting an important time for Ripple a few weeks ago while I was on vacation having some free time. A huge $3 billion in line because of a recent SEC motion. With this motion, all sales that happened after the first complaint in December 2020 were meant to be part of the current lawsuit. The SEC basically wanted to include 3 years' worth of XRP sales to Ripple's on-demand liquidity partners since the lawsuit started. And the SEC's move was meant to make the lawsuit process bigger and last longer, which isn't how things usually work. Thankfully, John Deaton's sites have helped to understand better. John Deaton's knowledge has been very helpful in navigating these tricky legal waters. I want to say a huge thank you for all the work he has done for the XRP community. And we should thank him for his hard work. He just recently posted the full update on his YouTube channel, which is very helpful for people who are following the case. I think you should watch his whole update to fully understand it. I picked out a few important points to talk about with you today. Let's take a closer look at these important facts and talk about what they mean for Ripple, the XR community, and this legal battle in general. Hello, Moneyside family. You've come to your favorite place to find out about shipping news. I need to ask for a quick favor before we get into today's exciting news. Show us some love if you like our content. Please click the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell button to join our very cool community. And now for some good news. As we get closer to 60,000 subscribers, we're getting ready for a big XRP giveaway. It's really simple to join. There are only 3 steps. Pay attention to find out more because you won't want to miss it. Don't forget to use the hashtag Moneyside in your comments. If you want to be in the running for the giveaway, we're here to be straightforward and honest with you all, focusing on the latest news, the markets, and ways for people to deal with the ongoing transfer of wealth that affects them. Running for both families and businesses. Clearly, the SEC's lawsuit against Ripple and what it means for XRP have been very important in this wealth shift. This fight has been going on for 3 years. Judge Torres distinguished herself by rejecting the SEC's broad claims against the entire community, stating that XRP is not a security. The community won a big battle with this decision. The main point of the dispute right now is Judge Torres writing the sales to institutional investors were investment contracts, which means they were not registered as securities offering. Using my sticky notes to show how complicated this case is, it's clear that Judge Torres didn't tell the difference between sales meant to make it easier to get cash on demand and sales made to institutions that wanted to invest. She thought that any sales to institutions that included contract were unregistered securities offering. Without any distinction, as Ripple and the crypto market as a whole try to figure out how to deal with the new laws and rules that govern them, this broad interpretation has big effects on them. As we've already talked about, I shared my analysis of the first SEC motion to compel a few weeks ago. Since then, we've had the chance to talk to John Deaton, an expert who has helped us understand the situation better. It turns out that our first thoughts were pretty much the same. After Judge Torres' broad classification, Ripple now has to show that some sales to institutional and accredited investors may not be subject to that classification. In this difference could possibly make the penalties that Ripple faces less severe. And as John Deaton has said, the fine that Ripple gets could be a lot less than what the company has spent on lawyers so far. He says that the fine isn't meant to punish Ripple too much, but rather to show that they didn't follow the rules properly and charge them a small fee to fix it. How would this result? Ripple would be able to fix its mistakes and keep running its business. On the other hand, the SEC wants to include all sales after the lawsuit was filed because they take a more harsh stance. Ripple could argue that the structure of these sales does not make them an investment contract, which would be a challenge to SEC's attempt to classify them as such. And the way the defense is put together could be very important in deciding how the case turns out and how well Ripple can handle future regulations. This basically means that Ripple is trading XRP for regular money. These trades are aimed at institutions that use XRP for an instant cash flow. There are no expectations of profit or lockup periods. And This is not an investment contract. Some people say that Ripple shouldn't have to defend its sales after the complaint because they weren't part of the original lawsuit. By adding these sales after the complaint, the CIE is once again trying to step outside the bounds of the law. Things are about to happen that will be very important. And with the 12th of February being seen as a key date. We expect Judge Torres to make a decision in the next few weeks. As the discovery phase of the remedies comes to a close, we'll soon know if Ripple needs to hand over its financial statements for 2022 and 2023, as well as any investment contracts that could be used in the lawsuit. On the other hand, most lawyers, including John Detton, agree that adding these post-complaint sales after discovery is over doesn't follow past legal cases. Most of the time, any ongoing sales that the SEC wanted to include should have been found during the discovery phase. Because of this, Judge Torres probably won't order Ripple to hand over these documents for a case extension that goes against normal legal practice. I'm sure Ripple felt good about going ahead with those sales. And because they were set up in a way that made it clear they weren't an investment contract. John Deaton's analysis gives us a big idea about what's going on and gives us reason to be hopeful about Ripple's future. And he thinks that the fine Ripple will probably get will be a lot less than the amount it is already spent on lawyers, and which is about $200 million. He suggests a very small fine, which has led to a lot of guessing about the exact percentage, which could be as low as 10 or as high as 25. Rather to be a fine of between end using malice and $50 billion for this. And a fine like this wouldn't be meant to punish Ripple severely, but rather to serve as a warning to other businesses not to do the same thing. From this point of view, the case's bigger effects can be seen, not just for Ripple, but for the whole crypto industry. It shows how important it is to find a balance between following the rules and encouraging new ideas in the digital asset space, which is changing very quickly. Imagine that Ripple has to pay a fine of between $1 and $50 million. That means you own for a company with over $1 billion in cash on hand. Positive cash flow and a lot of XRP to run like that would only be a small setback. The cost is reasonable and Ripple can keep running its business without any major problems. Based on Ripple's point of view, I'm sure that the SEC won't be able to go any further, especially since the case is so strong. Judge Torres' rejection of the interlocutory appeals suggests that Ripple is in a strong position. If she rejects any more appeals, it will support the idea that despite some early sales with lockup periods and expectations, these were investment contracts and they were aimed at accredited investors and institutions. This makes the fine less severe. Also, it's important to remember that the sales in question happened when XRP's value was much lower than it is now. This means that investors who took part are now making money, which rules out any claims of harm. This makes the case for a harsh punishment even weaker, suggesting that a fine would be more appropriate. And to set a regulatory example, rather